Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. Thank you very much for coming along to the live recording of the Beer Ladies podcast. No, you're not supposed to scream because then everyone is. We've got Tandy, Christina, Lisa, and Katie. That's probably me feeding back, I'd say. But without further ado, I will hand you over to the very first podcast recording live here at Rascals with the Beer Ladies.
Okay, folks. Hello, hello. Let me also move that away. No more breathiness. Hi, everybody. Hello. We are here for not just Rascals' first podcast recording, but the Beer Ladies' first live podcast. So that's kind of cool. It's very, very different to how we normally do things. You know, normally we're in our houses on Zoom with not anything like a sound setup or anything such like this. So this is going to be new for us as well as for you. But yeah, welcome to 2023. Hope it's going well so far. And welcome and thank you so much for coming. It's really wonderful to be here. And to Joe and the Rascals team, you guys are such legends. Thank you for having us over and dealing with the sound and all the technical things. It's a real weight off. All right. Well, Jack, keep up the good work. All right. And I mean, we're delighted not only to have sold, a couple of tickets. We thought maybe just our very close friends would come. There's a bunch of you here. It's actually mad. So thank you.
Yeah, when you guys listen back at home, like we are looking out at a full house here. So well done, everyone coming out on a very wet, windy, upsetting evening. But hopefully our own dulcet tones and the very nice beer in front of you will help out.
Yeah, dreadful day to be out, so we appreciate it even more. Okay, so who here in the audience has never met us in person or doesn't know who exactly we are by name? Hands up, maybe? Okay, excellent.
There's a lot of hands.
A few hands. Okay, of those people, who hasn't listened to the podcast before? Is this an exploratory thing? Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's even better.
New friends.
Okay, great. Yay, new friends. Okay, so I'm going to go from the far side of me, and we're just going to each introduce ourselves a little bit. So, Katie, take it away.
Hello, I'm Katie.
And hello, I'm Lisa.
I'm Christina.
And I'm Tandy. And as usual, we normally have one of us sort of doing sort of the main housekeeping and hosting duties on the pod. Today, that's me. I got that job. So part of that job is to do a little bit of the usual stuff that we do. So we like to encourage people to follow us on social media. We're at Beer Ladies Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere, even Mastodon. We're trying that out. And we're also at the beerladiespodcast.com. That's our website, where all of our links and past episodes are there. And we're at beerladiespodcast@gmail.com if you really want to go old school. So send us a line if you'd like. Otherwise, keep talking to us on Twitter, Instagram, and the likes. We love a conversation. Right, so you guys will all have to bear with us because this is very weird, as I said, and we don't have the power of a pause button or an edit later. So remember that this is not just going to be us tonight; it's going to be the people listening at home next week. So that's why we'll ask questions, but we'll have to describe what's going on. It's a skill that we've had to learn going into what season 3 we are.
Season 3.
There we are. Okay, so part of our usual segment is what are you drinking? Because we do love a beer on the pod.
We do.
Beer Ladies Pod, after all. All right, so Katie, what are you drinking? Tell us about your beer.
I am drinking Lowrider Micro IPA. What is it? 2.8%. There we go. It's lovely. Because I didn't want to get hammered before we did the podcast, obviously. So I might do that afterwards.
We all had at least 2 beers before this recording, so nerves. Lisa, what are you drinking?
So I actually had a lowrider earlier, but I've moved on to the Club Rock Shandy. When this first came out 2 summers ago now, I think it was hard to get hold of, but now it's here on tap almost any time. And even on a terrible day like this, it's really nice, refreshing. It's just a lovely low key, but kind of a little bit surprising of a beer. And for anyone who's a new listener, we do love to support all of our local Irish breweries. So just love to be here tonight again. Another shout out to the folks at Rascals, but love the collaboration with the club.
I'm also drinking the Rock Shandy, which I have never had, so this is my very first.
Have a sip there.
It's terrible. No, I'm just kidding. It's delightful. It's actually everything you said it was. Really nice and light. I really like it. Well done.
Cool. Well, while everybody else has got something light in colour, I've gone opposite and gone the dark. I've got a Nitro Stout here. I'm very, very excited for this. Is it going to get in the way of the mic? I don't know. Oh, that's good. Guys, have you had this? It's delicious. You should really try it. Okay, so let's get on with the show, friends. We have a couple of things that we thought we might talk about, but the very first relates to the fact that we are in Ireland. It is January, and, while we'll probably talk about different ways to celebrate January, we're going to start with one that just happened last week. And I'm not going to butcher the pronunciation, but it's Women's Christmas. So Katie, our resident Irish co-host, is going to save me the embarrassment.
So Katie is going to butcher the pronunciation instead. So it's Ihe Nollaig Naman.
Ihe Nollaig Naman.
Ihe is night.
Okay.
Nollaig is Christmas. Naman is, I think it's genitive for Mana, for women.
For women, okay.
Right? And it's Women's Christmas.
Oh. And what is Women's Christmas, Katie?
What is Women's Christmas? 6th of January, it's celebrated in Ireland. Jack was looking at me weird. It's okay. And I don't really know. It's traditional day when you take down your Christmas decorations. It's weird because do I look over there? Do I look at the audience? I don't know what to do. This is strange. Anyway, so I'm from obviously rural Ireland, down the country, west coast. And my parents never drank. Where did I come from? I don't know. But it was a tradition that the local women would get together after taking down the Christmas decorations and after working all Christmas long, and they would have a bottle of lemonade or whatever you're having yourself, I suppose.
A lemonade, really? No.
Well, my mother would drink.
Okay.
So I'm talking about my own experiences here. Obviously, there's other people would have a beer. I don't know. So there you go.
We may come back to that.
Yeah. So, I've got some basics on it. So, 6th of Jan is normally when it's celebrated.
Yeah.
And this is as far as my knowledge goes, but it's the 12th day of Christmas. And normally you take down the decorations, but not before, not after. Apparently that's unlucky. And, people, I think, across the country might celebrate it quite differently. But as far as I'm aware, it's more celebrated in Kerry and Cork. So sort of Munster, as opposed to, where we are in Dublin, Leinster. And I guess it was probably born out of a much different time to what we're in now, where it was, giving the woman the day off, so to speak, which is something we'd sort of roll our eyes at now, but maybe it's something that's been reclaimed.
Let's hope so. So there's a poem that a lot of, I don't know, people here might remember doing in secondary school. Ihe Nollaig Naman. Anyone remember it? Hands up. Hey, we
there's some.
Anyone?
We've won. Anyone else?
Sort of.
Sergi didn't do it. He's Spanish. And the opening line, I just think it's quite apt for tonight. It's like, "Bhí fuinneamh sa sturm a éilig a rare Ihe Nollaig Naman." And it's nothing to do with Ihe Nollaig Naman. It's basically a guy going, sure, if I die, I want to die on a windy night.
And it is a windy one today.
But it is a windy one today, so I think it's apt.
Hopefully no deaths, though. Okay.
But then people are trying to reclaim it, saying that it's women, raging against the patriarchy and things. There you go.
We can do that. We could do that. Yeah.
We can do that, right?
Yeah. So I guess traditionally, or back in the day, and I say back in the day as if it was really long ago, it sounds to me like it was very much in the 60s and 70s. It was women would potentially go out, have a drink, or at least be with their friends, not have to do the housework, cook the dinner, or look after the kids for the day, which sounds like one pitiful day off in a year, but, we digress. Do we know anything about the history of this or where it came from?
Ooh, my turn. So the history is incredibly murky, so very many things. And actually, I was listening to a really amazing podcast with Gillian Kenny. She's an amazing Irish women's historian. Read everything she writes. She's fantastic. And so she was being interviewed, and she was talking a little bit about the history. And of course, she said, yes, it's very murky. So she mentioned that Alan Titley, so he's an academic out of UCC, and he has suggested that it might have started because women would sell turkeys over Christmas and use that extra money for Christmas, but then use the leftovers, to go out with their mates on January 6th. But Gillian Kenny has offered a alternative explanation that possibly it dates much earlier in the medieval period and maybe beyond that, because it has such a strong presence in the Irish-speaking community that it might have been an Irish-speaking holiday that predated possibly even the English invasions, really, really early medieval, and that it just kind of carried on throughout the period and then lost some interest when the Irish language was suppressed and has now since come back into wonderful use since we're revitalizing the language. So that's something that she had suggested, that it had possibly a medieval or earlier connotation or
So
beginning.
much older than
But
what
this
it
is
sounds.
all speculation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting. Gosh. I read, but to be fair, it was on things like the Irish Times or other newspapers, some strange traditions that might have gone with it. So things like rubbing fishtails on your eyes, I think they were herring specifically, to ward diseases from your children for the year. Things like cleaning your floor, but putting a clean bucket of water at the door, which was then never used. And I'm not sure what the purpose was, but apparently bad luck to use that water.
Okay.
For the whole year.
Oh, I don't think you keep it the whole year.
Okay.
That would be really gross.
I'm like, what are you doing? It's
Yeah.
like, there's the
Just
bucket of water.
brackish water, just
But
growing things. Yeah.
It does seem that it's kind of being reclaimed a little bit. So,
Yeah.
especially down in Cork, we've seen a lot of hotels starting to put on events that are, tailored towards Women's Christmas, Little Christmas. These are both names, and it's just a bunch of women and men actually. So it's not even restricted anymore.
No.
But going out, having a drink, having a meal, dancing.
Yeah.
Doing things, just celebrating the end of the season, I guess.
Yeah, and we're seeing a resurgence, I think, in a lot of older Irish traditions. So I went down home.
Whoop.
I went down home on Stevens's Day, so I'm from Clare, and my 6-year-old and 8-year-old nieces had gone out on the wren. I don't know. Does
What's
anyone?
the wren, Katie?
I was going to say, does anyone know what the wren is?
Show hands. Show hands. Yeah. Very good.
So the way we do it, anyway, I know maybe in towns and stuff they do a parade or something, but when growing up in Clare, up until I went to college, that was my drinking money. So you go door to door. Myself and my friend Elizabeth would go knocking on doors, singing songs on our bikes with a net curtain over our face, a bit of tinsel. And that's what we did. But my two nieces, 6-year-old and 8-year-old, they made €22 each.
Wow.
Well done,
Yeah.
girls.
I'm surprised that people even have cash anymore, just lying around in their house.
You'd always have it. Like,
Oh.
my mother, you'd stock up on it would have been the pound coins back in my day, but like the €2 or $5 or whatever. And you'd have like the GAA ran or the local youth clubs and the local activities, and they'd have their concertinas or accordions and their fiddles, and your mother would say, don't let them in the door because they'll wreck it, have them do it in the street, But I know that the straw boys as well are associated with that. They're the ones that wear straw helmet-y things on their heads, I suppose. But we never really had that. We do have them, and I'm wondering, has anyone ever heard of this? The bacocks. Anyone heard of bacocks? Might be unique to West Clare. And it's when a couple comes home from their honeymoon and they go to the pub and the men in the straw hats come in and they all dance with them and they tickle
that's
people.
fun.
And it's I've never heard of it anywhere else.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be related to the kind of the chivalries you see in some other traditions. And again, traditions which I only know from musical theater because that's how I roll. But you do see these things happen in Oklahoma. They happen also in Martin Guerre, which is one of the worst musicals that's ever been produced in the West End. Do not recommend, but it does happen. There is a scene like that. But I will shout out a good thing. There is a wonderful Instagram account called Endless Mummer. And it's all about mumming traditions all across Europe. So you have people dressed in sort of straw hats, in full kind of head-to-toe straw costumes, and it's all over the place. But it's a lot of fun, and it's nice to see some of these traditions being revived in lots of different and sort of more inclusive ways.
Yeah.
That is really weird. Like, I've never heard of any of these, and I like to hear them. They're cool.
Well, I think a lot of people do like Chasing the Wren festivals and stuff, but it's all very regional and everybody does their own thing. whatever they want, really, I suppose.
I feel like I'm too much of a millennial for this. If strangers came to my door, dressed up singing for me, I think I'd be so freaked out. I wouldn't know what to do.
You're just not used to it. You expect it. I can imagine, like, people during the pandemic, they go, we'll go live by the Atlantic in Loop Head. And it's like, who? I'm on the low rider. I nearly fell off my chair there. But yeah, everybody does it.
Huh. Oh, well, that's news to me. Did anybody here, or does anybody here, whether yourself, grannies, aunties, moms, celebrate Women's Christmas at all?
There we go.
Oh,
Yeah, some hands up. Yes.
Not many, but I suppose we're also in Dublin. Sort of. Sounds like a sort of. Okay, interesting. I'd love to know. Maybe we'll get to it in our Q&A later. But I'd love to know what people do.
Yeah, what they get up to.
Yeah. Now the other thing that happens in January, which is clearly not happening here tonight, is dry January. Boo! Yeah, we're hearing boos. Yeah. Yeah. Who normally participates in dry January, or who is now? Anyone on a non-alcoholic or a soft drink tonight?
Oh,
No.
My husband is driving me home.
Oh,
He
okay.
is.
All right.
A few
Designated
hands,
drivers, aside. Yeah, no, well, clearly we're not on dry January either. Why is that? Katie, why do you not do dry January?
What? I don't want to.
Because you don't want to. Fair enough.
No.
Yeah. And you, Christina?
Because I did dry 3 months from October to December. So,
That's true.
yeah, no, not by choice. Yeah. Anyway, I'm fine now. I was sick for a while, but I'm fine now. But yeah, I do it sometimes. If that's what you want to do, you should do that.
Yeah. Lisa, do you ever partake or observe dry January?
Yeah, I feel like it's that kind of thing where, having had 2 children, I'm like, I did that not drinking twice. So, good enough. I've already ticked that box. But that said, I do think it's good to either, have times where you do cut back, or maybe not even, I know we'll get onto the try stuff, but try other things too, whether it's cocktails or just something a bit different, change it up. So.
Yeah.
I don't do dry January because I just can't be asked.
I'm with you on that one, Tandy.
Also, I like beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clue is in the name.
But I have been doing Triannuary.
Okay, tell us more.
So Triannuary is you try beers that you wouldn't normally drink, or try maybe do something as well, but mainly the hashtag is for beer, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, I thought it was for alcohol in general.
Oh, is it alcohol in general?
Oh, maybe it's just beer, I'm not sure.
I don't know. Well, so any listeners of the podcast will know I'm not really into the whole sour thing.
We have some
Shout
support
out.
in the crowd.
But then I got thrush, and now I can taste sours again. I don't know what happened in my mouth. Yeah. Who would have thunk it? Maybe it's the yeast. I don't know.
So yes, you took your first step into a larger world. It was
I'm taking little steps, but they're far more palatable now.
There you go.
So yeah, I wouldn't say they're my favourites by any chance, but I'm trying maybe ones that I wouldn't usually go near ever. And yeah, it's going well.
It's nice to see that you're open to them now, Katie.
Yeah.
Before, we couldn't get Katie to try anything that was tart or sour. She was like, no, it's fizzy cola bottles. Can't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I still don't go for anything smoky, and I know I have friends who love the smoked beers. They are not for me, but little hint is okay. So I do try to try them every now and again, and then say nope, still no, still no. But it's good to try. But I did have something over the holidays where it was like all of Triannuary in one beer, because I'm not going to name the brewery. This was somewhere in America. Had never actually heard of the brewery before, but this is one beer. It was a dry hopped Zwickel India Vienna lager.
What?
So many adjectives, just.
What is Zwickel?
Well, I'll say it didn't taste like a Zwickel beer to me, but it wasn't bad. It was just none of the things it said it was. But I tried so many beers with one beer, effectively.
But
so.
what is a Zwickel beer? I've never heard of one.
Well, good Zwickel beer would, they're German and they're very fresh, and someone who's a proper brewer, and I can see a whole table of them in front of me can come up and properly properly tell us, but it's lovely lager, fresh. I think typically unfiltered, but again, proper brewers can come and correct me in the Q&A section. But this was not that. It wasn't bad, but it was not that.
But also, did you say triple hopped?
No, it's a lager. It's usually very fresh,
no, I meant your
unfiltered.
beer, not the
My beer. It was triple hopped. I know this is you guys at home. There's an expression that you're seeing on Tandy's face.
No.
And actually there were more adjectives because it was Strata, Simcoe, and Nugget in the hops. But then the tasting notes they gave beyond it is just a long list. I'm not going to read out because it was a list of just flavors. Which, if anyone wants to go back and listen to our episode on this is what we're talking about. So.
Those don't even sound like hops that belong in lagers typically.
No, they don't.
No.
They don't. Again, this was not bad. It just wasn't what it said it was.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, that's okay because over the holidays I had the displeasure of trying something that said it was a double IPA, and I was like, okay, well, I haven't had one for a while.
Sure.
It was a double New England IPA, and I really didn't like that they didn't specify that because I'm sick to death of hazies. I just am. I'm done. This year is going to be my predictions, the year that the West Coast IPA comes back. Brewers,
shots fired.
Home brewers over there are agreeing with me. So there we go. I want West Coast back, and I actually think it's going to be because to really give a beer that amount of bitterness, it's actually slightly cheaper than going for all the flavor and the aroma that your hazies will do. Screw the double dry hopped. Don't need it. Just give us good bitterness, please.
But how do you really feel?
I swear I'm going to make a T-shirt like double dry hop. Fuck off. That's it. Not interested.
What did we call it in the episode? Double damn hell or something?
we had a few suggestions in our it was our pub quiz, wrong answers only, for what rename double dry hops, or what does DDH stand for. And I was really surprised that it wasn't like double decker hell or double doggy something. I mean, we went quite clean in the end, you guys.
You're mine. You just live in the gutter. Tandy. Come on.
What can I say?
I'll pull you out because I'm not in there.
I don't trust you to pull me out, Katie.
But that's it. Try new things. There's so many interesting new things, that, and again, locally, we're really lucky because, our local brewers are doing some really cool stuff. And again, I'm not just saying that because a bunch of them are sitting in front of me, but they are doing some really, really cool stuff. They are doing some really cool stuff. So well done, everyone.
Well, and you're joining me today trying something new because I have never had a Shandy.
Oh.
What? Are you serious?
Everyone, that's why, because you all give me daggers, and then I'm stubborn and don't want to try one.
Shandies are delicious.
Well, they are. In fact,
okay.
this is the rock Shandy from Rascals, and it's delicious.
There we go.
So now I'm converted.
Oh,
it's not.
No, it's not a real Shandy.
What is
Fair
a real
enough.
Shandy? It's ginger ale, isn't it?
No, beer
No.
mixed with lemonade.
Lemonade.
Well, when I was reading something that I found historically, it was ginger ale.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Ginger ale and beer.
Could be.
Normally it's beer and lemonade.
like a Radler would
Yeah.
be
Yes,
a
it's similar
Shandy.
to a Radler, yeah. Except that a Radler's normally done in wine, I guess, whereas the Shandy, you mix it yourself.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
you
I know
can-
nothing about this.
Fair enough.
But
But
it's
you see,
delicious.
this
I
one
like this.
is based on the club
Yes,
Shandy
the club Shandy.
can of fizzy drink.
Yes.
I've also never had that.
Oh, you're missing out.
Now,
It
you
is
see, if
good.
you'd
See,
had that,
Triannuary. It's easy.
now, if you'd had that drink, you'd know how much that beer tastes like that drink. It's actually incredible. It's
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so clearly I need to now go to the shop and acquire one of
Yes.
these.
Yeah.
Yes. You put this beer into your mind, and then go get the club Shandy, and then, you'll know. You'll know when you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, not that it's a concern for anybody in the crowd, but there are other ways to also do dry January, and I'm saying that in quotations, without, while not drinking.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It doesn't stop you from buying beer and saving it for February. As we all know, breweries need help right now, and I'm laughing, but not out of amusement. It's actually quite sad. We've heard of a few breweries that are going to be closing down soon. Whoopah! And... Oh, yeah. He thought it was Rascals. They're not.
No, it's all
doing fine.
Your job is safe.
Yeah. Yeah, but there are. I mean, I think there's a lot of pressure, especially the UK is seeing it more than us.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of pressure on breweries. So if you don't want to skip the alcohol, or if you do want to skip it but you still want to support, there's so many ways to do that. Buy a beer, save it for February. Why not?
Well, that's what I did when I wasn't drinking. I hoarded a lot of Trouble pumpkin brew, which I enjoyed over Christmas because I love that beer. So it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. It's doable.
It absolutely is.
I don't know how though, because I can't seem to store beer to save my life. It just gets drunk. All these people with cupboards of hidden treasures of beer that's a year old. I don't know what she is. Never met her. No.
See, I put it in the cabinet that I can't see, and then I forget about it.
Out of sight, out of mind. Doesn't work for me. I think I've got a nose for it. I know where it is. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't know where things live in my kitchen, so I don't. It's all a mystery to me. If it's not in the fridge, I don't see it. So
Lisa doesn't do the cooking at home, so it's not her. It's not her.
it's not my
domain.
area of expertise.
Yeah.
No.
Women's Christmas would have been wasted on you, Lisa.
I know. I would be like, now is the day I have to do things. I'm not ready for this.
No, I love it. I hope that we don't have actually too many brewery closures this year. I mean, I think it is rough out there. Economy is shite. Things are expensive. But I'm sure if we all just do our bit, we'll keep the friends and fam that we love in the beer industry alive. Yeah?
Here, here.
Cheers to that. Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Oh. Hoorah.
Yeah.
We're getting some cheerses in the crowd. Some hoorahs. Yeah. No, that's cool. So what else are we doing in Jan, guys? Or what are we looking forward to in Feb?
Well, February is St. Bridget's Day, so that's really exciting.
And it's a bank holiday
Yes.
weekend. Woo!
Remind us about St. Bridget.
Okay, so St. Bridget, obviously, very famous saint. Lots to do with brewing. So I've waxed poetical about her many times. So famously, she turned one portion of malt into enough ale to serve all the churches around for Easter. But I think what's kind of interesting for tonight is a poem. It's called St. Bridget's Ale Feast. And it was written in the 11th century, so not by St. Bridget. She would have been dead for a long time by that point. But something that she said in the poem is her version of heaven, which we're kind of embodying at the moment, sort of. So she viewed heaven as a giant lake of beer, with everyone drinking it for eternity. So we're kind of there.
Where is the lie?
We don't have the floaties. We're not on the lake, but we are drinking beer and we're enjoying ourselves. So I guess we're having a little taste of divinity this evening. So that's one of my favorite stories. And actually, not too far away, so down more in towards city center, kind of near St. Patrick's and St. Werburgh's, used to be a church on St. Bride Street, which was St. Bridget's Church. Of course, it predated the Viking city. And it, of course, was destroyed in the late 19th century. But it was one of the oldest churches around, and of course it was dedicated to St. Bridget. So we're not too far away from one of the churches that meant so much to her religious group.
I like her vision of heaven.
Oh, I love her version of heaven.
I don't need the floaties either.
No,
It's fine, we'll swim.
just swim.
Yeah.
Little snorkel.
It's good for your hair too. So.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it?
Yeah, there are all those spas you can go to. You can have like a beer bath.
Yeah.
And don't you remember when we did our episode on things to buy for Christmas? There were all those shampoos and lotions and stuff. Hops and malts where it's at for the skincare.
There you go.
The hair care.
Beer self-care. It's important. Yeah.
I remember even as a young child, my mom used to say, if you want your hair to be shiny, rinse it with beer. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. No,
Didn't
absolutely.
realize how much beer I was just pouring down the drain. I could have been drinking in the shower.
Yeah.
Shower
Yeah.
beers.
Shower beer. Yeah.
Shower beers are nice. And what's cool about that area is there was actually women who were brewing there for centuries after. So in the 1600s, I have at least 3 women off the top of my head who were brewing and selling ale right around the corner.
Really?
So there's a long tradition of that street and that area being a place for brewing women.
That's really cool.
There you go. And of course, St. Bridget is the patron saint of brewing, or brewers. Right?
We're referring
Probably-
to notes.
Yeah, brewing. Right?
Brewing.
Brewing.
Or brewers, one or
I
the
don't
other.
know.
There we go.
She's related to beer.
She's
That's cool.
beer adjacent. She's a
She's
patron
beer
saint
adjacent.
associated with beer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And my daughter, who's 8, we were talking about St. Bridget. She was excited about the bank holiday, and then she was like, "Is that the saint you talk about with the beer?" And I'm like, "Yes." And so, she did understand that. She's like, "I'll talk to my teacher about it." I'm like, maybe another time. But yeah.
Well,
message went in.
It's a beautiful poem if you're keen. Actually, Erica, who's sitting right there, not to call her out too much,
Season 2 co-host.
she gave me a really, really lovely, I think she got it on Etsy, poem, like laminated of St. Bridget's poem. So if you want to go on Etsy and have a look, it's really there. And there's different versions, but yeah. View of Heaven, giant lake of beer, here for it.
Nice. And if you guys recall, we did an interview with Mirella, and she was talking about the campaign to make Bridget's Day a public holiday.
Yeah.
Around the world, not just in Ireland, which we thought was very interesting. Wonder if we'll,
Well, it's happened in Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
But I wonder if it'll eventually spread to the rest of the world. Can't see it.
It would be awesome.
Would be
Well,
fun.
St. Patrick's Day is a holiday in some
Everywhere.
island. Is it Montserrat or some
Oh,
island?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's cool.
Who knew?
That's cool. Huh. I love it. Well, we're going to start wrapping up the sort of recorded part of this podcast because we want to speak to you guys and we want to get Q&A from the audience. So, anybody with any final thoughts on the co-host panel here before I give people reminders of social media and all the boring stuff?
Come to Rascals. It's great.
Yeah.
He's like,
no,
come on.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're looking forward. Several will be here on the 28th for the day drinking, but also other events coming up. So if you want to see us elsewhere, we are elsewhere, but that'll be good fun.
Hashtag Beer Ladies in the Wild.
Beer Ladies in the Wild.
There it is. Okay, well, for the non-people sitting here, for the people listening at home next week, catch us again on all the socials. We're at Beer Ladies Pod, literally everywhere. And mail us or go to our website for the back catalogue of all the episodes. We're on YouTube and we love it when you go and like and leave comments and share it with your friends and all of that. And just see you all next week. This will be our first episode of the new year, so excited
Back on
to
a
be
schedule
back.
after this?
Yeah,
Bye.
brilliant. Okay, we'll say goodbye and then we'll be back.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, we're back.
And we're back.